Hi, and thank you for tuning into the Fight Zone podcast. In this episode, I talk with Australian professional mixed martial artist. Joseph Luciano is a veteran in the IMMAF tournaments, who turned professional last year and is now contracted with ONE FC. He coached and cornered several of Australian national team members at Oceania 2020. Follow Joseph at Facebook, joseph.hooke, Instagram, Joseph_Luciano MMA, or you can follow and train with his team at kimekai.com. That's KIMEKAI. Facebook kimekai.mma and Instagram kimekai MMA coach. I don't know where to start from for this one. This was a legendary episode and the longest up to now. We went from some white conspiracies and talk about some sport politics, some good stories, and of course performance of the Team Australia to Oceania 2020. I'm sure we could chat for hours more. We got so carried away, so we even forgot to mention Joe's sponsors, so I will mention them here. Thanks to Joma Sport Australia, UAR Services, and Cosnett Training System for supporting Joseph, who is an amazing martial artist and incredible human. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Stay healthy and stay strong.
Why do we fight? To protect home and family. To preserve balance and bring harmony. For our kind, the true question is, what is worth fighting for? The Fight Is All podcast.
Okay, awesome.
How are you?
Yeah, good brother. How are you? How was your birthday?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. You know, the current situation's a little bit odd, but life goes on.
Did you make a self-isolation, social distancing party?
Yeah, all by myself. I've actually got a little bit of a question for you about this social distancing and sort of the supposed restrictions we've all got. When the Soviet Union crashed and everybody was out of food, how was that? Because my friends are complaining there's no food at the shops, but it's all good for us, in my opinion. You know.
Well, listen, brother. I've been very young when so I was very young when the communism crashed and the whole system changed. But I just remember this from kids' perspective. So it feels like like this whole time, but here in Australia, it's all good as long as you have enough to eat. It's just a social crash, and
Yeah.
apparently this thing happens from time to time, and it's what personally worries me more is what this gonna lead to than the danger itself, because from what I've seen and from the story that I know, it's every problem is overcome sooner or later, and I absolutely see this issue with this virus. It's kind of strange. It's another story where it came from, but even if you
I
put
think
this, yeah, go ahead.
everyone's got their own opinion about that, and there's some conspiracies flying around. But to me, however it happened, whatever it happened, it's what we deal with on the day-to-day thing. You know, it's the people on the floor that it actually affects.
Yes, and that's the way you approach a problem. It doesn't matter what caused it. Once you have the problem, what matters is how you solve it. That's the most important thing. What caused it? It's another issue. But what caused it is related to if this is caused by purpose. What's the purpose?
Yeah.
And what this social crash leads to? Because historically, every social crash leads to some kind of restructuring of the society. And then every restructuring of society is in favor of the people who restructure it. You know what I mean? So then this matters because we're depending from that as regular people, and that's what matters. Like what this thing gonna lead to, and something that happens all over the world cannot be. I doubt that everything will just go back to what it was. because that's something that put the whole world in a situation. So there will be a change. The thing is, what this change will be, and what I see from my end is what worries me also more is unlogical reactions of the people who are supposed to be leaders at that moment.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. So simple logic. I'm an engineer, so I deal with things by
I do know this. I do know this.
putting them apart. So if you have a virus, I'm not biologist, right? My wife is biologist, so I was talking a lot with her, and she's also working in pathology, and I value her opinion because I know she's good in what she's doing. But I just speculate from my own opinion how to organize stuff. So if you have a problem that you have a thing that develops for 14 days, it means if you put a total lockdown on a country or area whatever for 3 or let's say 1 month, you know whoever is sick, and you can target these people and isolate or try to cure them or whatever. What worries me is this talks about 6 months lockdown, because listen, coming from Eastern Europe, I have grandmothers and grandfathers who was actually alive during the war. So even during the war, when people was dying as flies, no one stopped working for 6 months. You know what I mean? So people was dying in thousands for a day.
Yeah, great. My grandparents said the exact same thing. They were alive during the rationing period after World War II. And they said the same thing. We never stopped working, no matter how bad it got.
Because people knew that if you stop working, the economy crash, that leads to hunger. And 6 months not working, that's insane. That doesn't make sense for me. I know that there is danger and everything, but there are measures that could be taken so people can keep working. Because if you stop the economy for 6 months, this never happened. And that it doesn't make sense for me. You know what I mean? So if you stop for a month the economy, everyone's no one goes on streets, 1 month only, deliveries are working, minimum contact, people will suffer. But then after a month, we're gonna roll our sleeves. It will be like, okay, let's put this one back on track. We work harder, and everything will go. Yeah, you lose a bit of money, a bit of luxury, but that's not what values in life. But then everything will be back to normal. But walking down the world for 6 months looks pretty insane to me, and doesn't make sense. What worries me doesn't make sense.
I agree.
Where your parents are from? Where's your heritage from, by the way?
So my dad's Italian.
Okay.
That's why my last name's Luciano, and my mum's English. So I'm the first Australian in my family, the first Aussie.
Okay, was you born here or?
Yeah, I was born here. I'm the first one born here. So yeah. I'm the Skippy of the bunch, which is pretty funny. But we have a very small family in Australia. Not many emigrated, so I'm a little bit worried about my grandparents, but they don't seem worried. And I think they basically said to me, if we go, we go. We had a great life. So that's a good way of looking at it. But, I don't want to lose my grandparents.
Yeah, of course. It's humbling when you see the old and wise people. They actually are not afraid from death so much as let's say we are. And it's humbling. You feel like a bit of bitch, You're just like, oh, I'm afraid. They're like, oh, it's all right. Whoever dies, dies.
And in my family, I'm the crazy one. I'm the tough one. My grandparents.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the fighter.
Yeah, exactly. So that they think I'm crazy, but now I think they're crazy. So, what's happening with your club?
Well, it closed from 2 weeks. Even before they imposed the shutdown, I decided just not to risk because they canceled many competitions. Amir was going to fight in Sambo World Cup Karamanpev in Moscow in Russia, then canceled because of the virus, and then I decided I'm gonna shut up early because I was more worried for someone to get sick in the gym
Yeah.
than for anything else, because you're coaching yourself now, and you have responsibility for those guys. They're your people,
For sure.
and even if they just it's not like taking care for large number of people, but people that in the gym, they're under your supervision, they're your people, and you're responsible for that. So I was like, I would rather calls now early, and don't risk anyone to get any sick or something in the gym, than rather risk, because what they gonna lose? We're gonna go in little vacation. This is short. Yeah, you train outside, like you heal a bit of injuries, you're coming back, and we keep going. But if someone,
injuries,
yeah,
yes.
but if someone gets sick, and then something happens, I will carry this on me all the time. So, I felt responsible, rather to close the gym for a while. And I was right. 1 week after, they closed everything. So I was happy I did that, because at least this put the people responsible for, like, out of risk. So from my perspective, I did what was right, even if I lost, maybe I don't really make money from that, so I don't care about
Yeah.
any cash. But even we lose a bit time, and I don't know what we're gonna happen with if the gym will take us after, or I don't know. That it's a very strange situation for everyone in our sport. It just really strange what is going on, and you don't know like how is Coach Ed doing?
Yeah, really good. I actually saw him last night. I don't know if you've heard of it, the Zoom. It's sort of like an online seminar where you can have maybe 10 or 20 more people join. So he was sort of calling out combos, and I was doing them, and we had like an online class. It was really good.
Cool.
I personally got a good workout out of it, and I'm pretty fit. So I imagine the sort of general population guys that were watching it got a good workout in too. So last night was more of a cardio style session with boxing techniques and kickboxing techniques. And moving forward, like even the experienced fighters, I said to them, if I do that, we all can learn from that easily, and I can actually see what they're doing and talk them through correct techniques. And so it's definitely a way to keep training. And I got a good workout in last night. So yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. A lot of gyms are doing it, I think. So just keep people occupied, keep people happy, and hopefully learn some technique. Yeah,
Oh, that's nice. How it's called? Zoom. I'll
yeah.
try
Zoom.
I'll try to see. I didn't know about that thing. So is it
Yeah,
like a kind of like a conference thing? So you
yeah. I
can.
believe it was for businesses to do conference calls. And my girlfriend, she's actually a weightlifting coach, and she's using it as well for her gym. They're having 10 people, and she's correcting technique, and it's kind of like virtual coaching, like a lot of
Okay.
a lot of athletes, Olympic athletes, can't get to their coaches anyway. So, distance and everything. So they use
Yeah,
it
yeah.
aside from this. So I think the technology is going to integrate, and maybe after this is all finished, there'll be some opportunities. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
I'll give it a try. That's good. It's good idea. Because what I was doing, I was pretty much posting some sessions on Instagram that I experiment with, just for everyone who wants to try, and just
Yeah,
kind of to keep the guys that I train with, like just with some ideas and stuff. Yeah, but that's good. That's a good idea.
yeah,
I have
and
I
like,
have many
sorry, you go.
I have many friends who are coaching around the world, and they're posting full workouts everywhere. So it's kind of good chance to have a sneak peek in everyone's approach to the stuff. So if you
Yeah,
take
for
some
sure.
closely from that.
The cool thing with the Zoom is, like, I know you have a lot of contacts in Bulgaria. You could run a session for the Bulgarians, and then maybe get one of them to run a session for your guys out here. Like, the possibilities are endless.
Oh, like what comes to mind, like maybe we can make something like between the coaches that we know and we work each other, like you, Coach Ed, and the others, we can make something for everyone like that. So like that would be pretty fun, and it will keep you entertaining. Like every other day, you know, like we work with a different coach and you know see his approach. That would be pretty fun. I would do that.
Yeah, I reckon it's good. Even, tactical talk too, or a breakdown of techniques. And yeah, like this lockdown sucks, but I've said to my guys, and I believe I'm going to come out better from this. Yeah, maybe I won't be hard sparring, but my technique can get better. I can lift weights, I can get stronger, and I can get fitter, and I can keep my mind going. So it's not the end of the world for sportsmen.
Listen, you know how it goes in a fight. It's never over before it ends.
Correct.
So you always keep going. You know, you can only lose if you give up. You keep fighting. It's just another challenge. That's what it is. You know, like someone have to live during that times as well. So it's just us. It's nothing different. It's just a challenge.
For sure, for sure. What did you think of the Oceania?
Was good. Was good, and I I was kind of busy the first 2 days with the kids tournament and some organization stuff. I was able
Yeah,
to
I
watch the
saw that.
finals, but Australian team stayed pretty good. I was really happy to see we as a team we stand good. The guys was doing really good, and you guys as coaches was doing awesome job as well. Like I see Coach Ed has a new approach, staying away from the cage so no one can tell him he's yelling too much. And I was I know what you're doing, but yeah,
It was
he
it was
find
good.
another way to beat the system.
Oh, he couldn't help himself. He had to.
I know it's in his car. That's why I walk him. But I know that they always complain or warn him that he's yelling too much. Now he's taking another approach. He's going
Yeah.
away from the cage. And all they say, "Oh, you're near the cage. You're yelling too much." And he's like full
Oh,
on.
oh, it was. I thought the Oceania was obviously the best amateur event run in Australia so far, in my opinion. What impressed me was the quality of our fighters has gone up. There's some really good guys coming through. I know you had Troy on the other day. I actually
Yeah, I
listened.
had Kobe as well. I haven't published it yet. We're
Yep.
gonna do this today. Yeah, well, they was really strong guys and they're far from their peak, so they have a lot more to do.
Yeah. Like I know sort of the last, so I did 6 IMMAF tournaments, and the last 3, the standard's gone up. And as a team, we probably had maybe 2 guys that were medalists or capable of medaling. Now I think we've got 6. So it's awesome. Awesome to see the development, and you doing the youth stuff, that's only going to, have a big base in the pyramid for us to go up and hopefully get a gold medal. I know Olivia got the silver last year, which is super impressive. Like, I don't think people realize how hard that is. So, yeah, it'd be cool. I can't wait to see her. Hopefully, like, it's one of the guys I coach that get the gold medal, but I just want to see it for
Yeah.
the team.
Listen, that's a race between the coaches, but that's a healthy race, like that's what build us. So I'm all for that race, but I'm
I
also
want to see
super.
Corey Reeves. Corey Reeves get the gold medal. That's my hot tip.
Yeah, well, he's good, man. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long he have been training? He have been training with you?
I reckon 6 years. So
6 years.
he's one of my main training partners. We're a weight class different, but he's getting better every single day. And yeah, he's a great training partner, and he's got the right attitude too. Trains hard, just a real quintessential hard worker. He's good. He's good. He did well against that Dagestani or Bahraini, I should say.
Well, that's what I was happy to see with the team Australia that our guys now has no issues to stand against Bahrainians or like the Dagis that compete for Bahrain. they were just like, yeah, that's just another body, and they was fighting them. They was fighting them good. Corey did a good job. He just couldn't get this guy off his back, but he did a good job. He stand up a couple of times on him, which is actually good, because people who don't know how hard it is to stand up on a good wrestler, they don't appreciate this as a technique. But I saw him a couple of times. The guy was not able to keep him down, which is huge achievement for him.
And that's a big achievement from the last time he fought at Bahraini, where the guy was more all over him. This time he was up. Hopefully next time the guy can't get him down. So we're getting better each time.
Man, you know what I was thinking all the time while he was fighting?
Wow.
I was, Niba, want some sambo, Niba. Oh man, like I was watching, I was like, Niba the bitch.
That's funny. Next time we see each other, you'll have to show me the technique, and we can go over.
There's setups so that you can make just from this position that is very hard for him to escape, especially if he's fighting the way this guy was fighting, because there's different way to ride the back in sambo and in wrestling. Because in wrestling you don't worry about the legs. In sambo you keep the waist, but you keep the legs far because of the knee bars.
Okay.
This guy was getting the wrestling right, which is correct from wrestling perspective. He was getting his hip close to the butt, but his leg is between your legs. And if you know how to set up the knee bar from there, it's
okay. This is brilliant. We need to sort this out for sure, because so Corey and I are trained with he's a Russian wrestling coach. He's the Australian national coach.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to him about it, he said, "Oh, that's easy. We've got an easy thing. He shouldn't be allowed to do this." So hopefully we get a few options, and next time it'll be different.
It's either that, or I would go for that because I'm confident with my knee bars. Or like if you wanna beat the wrestling, you just have to attack switches and stuff. There are options to do.
Yeah.
I like both of them, but especially the way he was running, that was what was like on my eyes. But the thing is, you cannot know everything, It just some people see once.
That's what's beautiful about MMA.
I was just so much rooting for him that I fall into it, just like knee bar him.
Oh, I tell you who else had a really good performance. Troy. I was really impressed with him.
Troy was very good.
He dominated that guy.
Yeah. Do you guys train together or just for the camp?
We have a few times. He's come and sparred at our gym, but I don't coach him or anything. So I was just in his corner helping him. And the interesting thing about Troy is he listened to everything I said in the corner, and he made the choice to act on it or not. So he's a thinking fighter, which is really cool. Really cool to see.
Oh, that's rare. That's very good quality. I had a guy like this. Actually, two of my guys were like that back in Bulgaria. So when they was fighting, I was super confident because they're like a video game. I feel like controlling them nice. And so when I yell something, they wait for the right moment. They're just like, like toys. But I have another one. And that's a very interesting story. Peter, he now fights in M1 in Russia.
Yep.
But when he was kid, he was growing up with me, and he has very strange goal. So the thing with him is like he was very good first fight, and he was doing stuff that I never show. I never show flying armbars, and he goes and does flying armbar.
Okay, so it's creative. Yeah.
But he couldn't hear me for his wife from the corner. It just whatever I'm saying, it's just like pointless. I actually stop. I'm also yelling a lot from the corner, very similar to Coach Ed. But I stop yelling with him because I know it doesn't change anything. He doesn't really listen to me at all. He doesn't hear the corner. And that was for years. Well, it was so serious. I went to my old coaches, to my kickboxing coach, who was always in my corner. And I can hear him from, like 1,000 people like yelling. I only hear him. I said, listen, like what to do with this guy? I cannot find a way to his head, like he trains like dog, like working hard, but he doesn't hear me from the corner, like whatsoever. And we were thinking, and he couldn't figure out. So then after a while, I had a bit of money because I had a good job at that time, and I hired a sports psychologist, a lady from Bulgaria. She's really good, by the way.
Interesting.
And by the way, she was really good. Like I brought her in the gym. Like she doesn't know the group. Like it was like a group of guys, and then she just stays there, and like for 5 minutes she say, okay, this guy's wise, this guy hates this guy. These guys trying to get. She said, oh, how you know that? And she say like their body language. And then I say, okay, oh, you actually good, because 5 minutes she doesn't know my guys. I know them by heart, but she doesn't know them. But she was just able by body language to tell me like who likes whom and who trains with whom.
That's very interesting.
And I was, man, like people can do that. It's like like it's like this stuff that if that was a kind of witch or something, it would make me believe, But
like
she's just a scientist, It there's science in those things. So then. So she helped us a lot, like give us tip and all the stuff. I implement a lot of mental stuff and mental trains into the system because I want for her. I spend good amount of money for that, but I never regret it because it really raises our performance. It's really interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
But the thing then, she actually solved my problem with Peter. And then I asked her, listen, from everyone, I have problem with this guy. He cannot hear me when he's funny, and he's already good. He was already like finding a word. And then she told me that how there's like these 3 types of perception: people who learn by listening, people who learn by reading, and people who learn by touch. Apparently, Peter was from these guys that only learn by touch, by feeling. He was just very dominant on that side, so his perception for listening and for visual was just not so good. He actually developed them later, but at that time, while he was young, he was very dominant on this contact warning type.
Yeah.
And then she told me, listen, it doesn't make sense to yell him during the round. I say, I know, I already tried that. It doesn't work. But she said, like, when he sits in the corner, touch him and then talk to him. And that actually started working with him. So,
wow.
It's amazing, like that's just another total science that is connected with our sport. So then I started doing that. So, like, when he fights the first round, I let him on autopilot, like, it doesn't make sense to yell. Like, he's doing by himself. Then when I observe the fight, try to analyze in the corner, and then when it comes, I touch him for the show. I say, do this, and then he starts performing.
That's so interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yes, but now if you have case with someone like that, you can try that. It might work because it took me like years to solve it with him.
That's very interesting. So how many champions did you have in Bulgaria?
Well, I kind of keep total of everyone, so now they should be like 150, like in total champions from the team. So they're doing pretty good in Bulgaria, but in Bulgaria we have a bit of problem with the local federation. We're not really, unfortunately, not in good relations. So they're forced to. Yeah, it's sad, but I know it started in a very awkward way. I'm not really into conflicts and stuff, but started in a stupid way, and it become very hard to solve now. I don't know if it really matters.
Politics are always politics and egos and things like that always get in the way of sport and achieving the best thing for the country.
Well, I'll tell you the story. Like since we touch it, the thing is, I was organizing amateur tournaments back home, and like they was similarly structured to the one that they make here at Queensland. And they was doing pretty good. I had like people coming from other countries to compete because the tournaments was really good. Had like 150 to 200 people on the tournament. It was really nice tournament.
Yeah.
And was doing good. Everyone was happy. So then when they make the federation, I was all for that because I always wanted to know like MMA sport to be regulated and like and to work together. And my tournaments was running, right? And I was actually on this meeting, to start the federation, everything. I was there, present, and then they start to put some politicians. I say, listen, like if you put politicians involved in that, I'm out because that's shit, and it never works. And then this politician totally like lost everything and like was kicked out from the society, and I was right. But like no one listens to you when they have to. Doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. But the thing is, then come date for the one of the tournaments from my network, and I actually invite the president of the federation to come and to work together. Say, okay, this tournament's around. That's already the 8th tournament. Come and let's do it under the federation. Let's do it together. And what this guy did, he sent police with a stupid accusation that's illegal tournament. We have illegal bets and stuff. And that's a damn amateur tournament. I was like, oh. And the funniest thing on the top of that was that was in the mountain city that my team actually started. And most of the guys who trained, they're actually working for the police. Right? So there's like, they had to stop their own tournament, and then this created a lot of bad blood for these guys because they feel humiliated. So from this guy, I got angry a lot as well. But then when I and that was the reason, like one of the reasons I left Bulgaria, because when they took away for me to work for the sport, I say like I has nothing else to grasp to. So I had a huge beef with this guy, and then I called him and say, what the heck you're doing? Like, who do you think you are? Like, I got really, confront him verbally. And he did good as a fighter. He was actually the second Bulgarian in UFC, to be honest. But he's really shit as a president of the federation. He's just not really good.
Okay. That's a shame.
So
that's ruined the sport a little bit for you guys. Like, I know Bulgaria has very good combat sports, but internationally in IMMAF, they're always a tough country to fight, but they're not top tier.
You know why?
Probably could be.
You know what? My team in Bulgaria is the second MMA team in the country, because the big teams are not into the federation.
Yeah.
So the good guys are actually not working with these guys. So he's working with a couple of small teams from small cities that are with him. So not couple, 4.
Yeah.
So there are 4 teams that form the federation. Everyone is out of it, and they're fighting against. So instead of us, to put all these good guys that we have into the tournaments, we kind of, we get caught in these intrigues and politics with these guys, like going back and forth, which is shame, because I like the MMA idea. I'm working super hard for it here, but back home, I'm stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
And it's wrong with the guys as well, because I have a couple of very good guys. I had a guy, I never trained him. He's coached absolutely from my student, right? This guy won a 8-man tournament for adults when he was 14.
Oh.
Super good. Super talented, like beautiful game, really technical. Like when he's fighting, it looks like it's easy. He's just one of those guys that is like, made for it. He's not beast. He's just, he's just a pretty fighter. He's just like, oh, you can do that. Just looks easy. He just has this good feeling. Yeah. And I want so much. I even proposed to guys, give him to someone else who is into the federation for these guys to fight, because in the moment you turn him professional, no one will fight him, because that's one of the problems in a small country like us. If you're good, you have no one to fight with, because no one wants to take fights with someone who is good.
That and I want him too.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
I hate, honestly, I know that's the goal of everyone as an athlete, but as a coach, I hate when someone turns professional. because his development curve starts to come down. Because if you're a good coach, you guys are good. If you guys are good, they have hard time finding opponents. I saw this a couple of times with my guys. Okay, we do everything. We go to the amateur network. We turn professional and we fight 3 times first year, then 2 times next year, and then you have to try to find money or opponents from abroad because no one wants to fight them.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of IMMAF. Like I had, I think 25 or 30 IMMAF fights in 4 years. I can't do that on the local scene. No way. Once you have 10, people start going, do I want to fight him? Maybe, maybe not. It's not worth it. I'll lose my O on my record, blah, 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 blah. But now as a pro, it's good, you know, like I got a lot of experience. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, you turned pro recently.
Yeah, last year I turned pro.
Year.
So I went from the IMMAF and then I got a deal with One on their One Warrior series. So yeah, that's exciting. I've had 2 fights there. I've gone 1-1. First fight I won against a tough guy from Japan, and then the second fight I lost against a really good Brazilian guy, Brazilian kickboxer. So I can't wait to get back in, but while this lockdown's on, you know, it's a little bit annoying.
Yeah, but I think I was talking with Corey about that. At least it gives you time to heal injuries, which we never normally have when you train, because you're always chasing something, always prepare for something.
100%.
And working with opponent is when you get injured. So at least now you can train a bit controlled environment, so you can still keep your body in shape, polish some technique, but you can let your body heal as well. So there's benefits in that as well.
Just before the Gold Coast, I flew in from Bali. I was at Bali MMA training for 5 weeks. Over there training full time, you know, which I don't really get the opportunity to do in Melbourne because I work. So I quit my job, went to Bali for 5 weeks with 2 boys from the gym. Sam, the 84 kilo guy that didn't actually get to fight on Gold Coast.
Yeah, I was feeling for that guy. I saw him; he was suffering. And I know the poor guy, but yeah, he'll be fine. He's young.
Yeah, he worked really hard, but I think he'll take it out on the next opponent.
That's the best, yeah.
So yeah, I was there for 4 or 5 weeks, came to the Gold Coast, and then unfortunately my grandmother passed away, so I was going to spend some time with my family.
Sorry to hear that, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And then after the 4 weeks, I was going to fly back to Bali, sort of, you know, and look at doing maybe a year over there training, sort of full time, and really have a go at being professional, because the guys I'm fighting aren't working. They're training twice a day with high level training partners and coaching and stuff. So that, you know, this whole thing's just put a little bit of a setback, but it's not going to be a big issue, and I can't wait to get back to Bali. So
there was going to be a sambo international tournament and combat sambo in Bali. I think this June or July. Yeah, and I was going to go there because I need to complete my international referee certificate for sambo and combat sambo.
Okay, interesting.
And I was going to go there, and eventually I was thinking, you know, Amir to compete there as well. I wanted him to compete now in Karawan Cup just for entry, but then to try really not to get medal on this one. But yeah, now it's
Amir on the podcast. He's a funny guy, huh?
Oh man, Amir is so funny. He's just his story by himself, you know. It's just like super funny.
Made me laugh. So
that's the funniest episode ever.
For sure. Will this be? Has he competed in MMA before, or he come from a kickboxing background, or?
No. I think he had before I started training with him. he started training with me. I think he had like 1 or 2 grappling comps.
Yeah.
So he was training in a bit like a shady gym or something, just something really, like social gym, not really competitive.
Yep.
And yeah, he started with me. I normally that's how I really do with everyone that I work. I really push them first through grappling comps. So I have internal rules in my team. You're not allowed to fight before you win a grappling comp.
That really surprises me, Seth, because you're a kickboxer originally.
I
What's
was.
this grappling? No way, get him kickboxing.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because and I see that in many people on my age. So you kind of lean towards your second ego. So like guys who start with wrestling, like Cosnett, leans more to kickboxing. Guys who was heavy on kickboxing, like me for the start, leans more on the second thing you want towards some. I don't know. I think it's mental. It kind of, like even if you know mental stuff, it doesn't mean you're immune from them. We're all subject of them. So the thing that you want as a kid, you don't appreciate because you find it like more natural. But you kind of more how to say, like consciously involved in the second thing you want because it's harder for you to want. And then when you become a coach, that happens to be your more you heavily more lean towards that. That's how I explain it to me. I very often analyze myself, but that's what makes sense for me.
I would agree with that. I started with Muay Thai, and whenever I'm sort of coaching guys or helping them out, I always place an emphasis on wrestling. But I prefer to, stand and do kickboxing, but because to me, wrestling's the more dangerous thing. So you need to be comfortable there, and then we can use our kickboxing. So it's funny. I completely agree with what you've just said. That's really interesting.
The thing is, as a fighter, and that's the beauty of our sport, because it's like bulletproof from bullshit. It just you couldn't go, and you so like coach has a good expression for that: searching for truth. So, and you easily find the truth that you cannot really fight against something if you don't understand it. So in order to be able to beat wrestling, you need to know how to wrestle. And that was my personal story. When I got into the combat sambo national team, I was grappling for fun. I actually started training seriously to grapple when they actually like invited me to the national team and say, oh shit, and I have to learn how to grapple now. And I had a couple of weeks.
So you were kickboxing, and then you had never done any ground fighting or an MMA fight or anything, and you went straight to the sambo national team, where
so what happened
sambo
is
has an effort. The emphasis is more on the ground game in sambo. To me, what I see, the transitions in ground game.
So with me it happened completely by accident, because I was heavily on my kickboxing. I was a professional kickboxer at that time, and all my goals and dreams was about kickboxing. So I was, trying to be the best kickboxer as I could be. But the thing is, I was super bored by running, because every morning for 10 years straight, I was running every morning, and we was training in. So we had this big complex of they're common, like in those countries where all sports are together. They stay from the old times, from the communistic times, and they're good because they have all sports together, all equipment, even if it's sold and everything. You have everything there. So athletes that train there, Olympic athletes, soccer teams, wrestling teams, boxing, kickboxing train together. So I was in this boxing and kickboxing team. So the thing is, you go training in the morning, you do your run. So it depends what mesocycle you are. You do a couple of maybe if you just don't have competition for a long time, it's just a quarter. You just do a couple of bag work or like pad work, some technique. If it's more like mesocycle for preparing a competition, you do more specific work, strategy or like conditioning, whatever. But Anyway, you go do your runs and then you come to the gym. And then you go, I was in the university at that time, so then I go to school, study, and in the evening I come for like for the second session, which is more technique and sparring and depends, like against from the cycle that we train. But the thing is, every morning you run, and that's for 10 years. And I hate running. It's just boring.
It is boring.
And especially when you run on a stadium, you just circle like that. It's mindless. I hate it. I was I had a record like 35 laps on the stadium, 400 meters, just running. No, it's mindless. And I was normally I liked to train and I was very good in my conditioning, so it's just like endless thing. And I just need something to entertain me. So then I don't know how this happened. I'm normally shy, but I don't know if like I might.
You seem shy. You seem like a very shy guy, Seb.
Yeah, I'm not really. I'm not really like some, but I don't know how I did that. Like honestly, now I wonder how I did that because like I wouldn't do that normally. So I just popped out into this. There was this sambo training, and I say, "Oh guys, can I like start training with you?" Imagine how bored was I to introduce stop someone else training to ask if I can join. And they say, "Yeah, no problem. Come and grapple." So like I even didn't have like had like kickboxing shorts and stuff when first day I started. I didn't have like kurka and something. Or just going there just for fun, just not to run. But then I find out that it's actually like first of all it's way more challenging for me. Like first when you start grappling when you don't know, you squeeze the hell out of it. It's like every time I was getting out pumped from it, even if it's just shorter than my normal training. It's like just 1 hour was the morning training day. Like my normal session was like 2-3 hours. When I prepare competition. It's like, man, that's so heavy and that's so good. But then when my coach find out, they say, "Oh, what the fuck you doing? You start clinching too much. Fuck that bullshit. Like stop going to grapple. You're a kickboxer. What the fuck is that?" And then say, okay. But I was already hooked because grappling is very very addictive. It's very interesting, especially when it's something new. So it becomes a forbidden fruit. I'll start hiding from my coach. Going to do couple of grappling sessions, and I was trying not to clinch for the hell of it, so he doesn't catch me. So when I go for clinch, just like push it, just so he doesn't catch me. Like I'm going to grapple. And I was doing this, just for the fun of it. Like once in a while, not to piss him off. He comes to check me because he was doing that. He coming out to check me if I'm running on the stadium. Like just put me out of the gym. And I was like trying not to catch me so often because he was, "Oh, where was you?" Like running around in the neighborhood. No, you went to grappling again, you bitch. Like you're not a grappler. You never learned that. And it was going like that, and then they was going to make actually the first European Combat Sambo Championship, and it was going to be in Bulgaria. And I was doing this for a while. I'm telling you, I was really. What I enjoyed when I was going on sambo is like on this morning sambo classes, like I was not really putting any effort into it. I was just having fun,
Yeah.
It was very freeing for me because like as a competitive athlete, there's kind of mental pressure on you when you train because every punch you do is just you're preparing for that, so you polish it. It was very living for me. First, I felt it's good for my conditioning because I was feeling pumped of it. But I was not really putting any mental effort, so that this kind of training was just kind of relieving for me, like was not. I was not taking it serious. I love training, but it just sometimes you need some trains that you really don't care for. You just have fun, and that was sambo training for me because I didn't really care. I didn't really try to learn the techniques. I was just just rolling there, just like a happy training bag. Yeah. But then they say they was going to make this first European Championship, and they come to me, okay, listen, no one wants to fight on 68, and you can fight, and you barely know how to grapple, but you can fight. Do you want to take the spot?
Okay.
And I was thinking, listen, I said, let me think, and then I was thinking, say, at that time I was thinking that I'm very good in striking, and say, okay, no one can outstrike me. And if someone catch me, I'm gonna attack. What's the worst can happen? But it's a chance.
The risk is not high.
But the chance for me just to get another medal for international comp, if I fail, I fail. Like I'm not a sambo guy, so no one cares.
So
And
back then in Bulgaria, if you won if you won that competition, does the government pay you any money for the medal?
they did, yeah. So, but listen, I took this just for the fun of it because I was not considering myself a sambist or something at that time. I was just like just a kickboxing guy who enjoys, to roll from time to time. But the thing is, then become serious, And then I said to my coach, listen, I accepted this and this, and like we have to train for that European Championship. And he said, okay, let's do that. And then I start bringing, grappling guys in my gym, in my kickboxing gym, because I wanted my coach to be in my corner, because I believe him, if I'm going to fight, I want him. And I'm training with these guys, like I don't know how fun this was working, because I was trying to figure out how to beat the guys who wrestled at that time. So we grapple, and I see my coach, he's staying, and he tried to figure out how to corner me as well.
Yeah.
He stays in the corner of the ring. We have like a ring with a bit of padding, and I was sparring with these guys. There he's saying, and I was like sparring. These guys take me down, and I kind of roll there, and he's saying, like, and I look at him, and he's like, "What are you doing? Don't fight like a bitch on the ground. Stand up." I say, "It's hard, stand up on these guys."
Just stand up.
Just fight like a man. It's not that easy to stand up on those guys. He's like, but he was watching with this disgust, It's like, what these guys are doing hanging on the ground. And I was looking at him, it's like, what is he saying? He's like, stand up and fight like a man. What's this shit? Funny like that. Funny ass. And then I got stressed. I say, okay, fuck, I cannot grapple. I'm not good in that. And I was going on trainings with the national team, because we had like a camp, we trained together. And because I start taking it seriously, I start to suck. It suddenly becomes serious. I was like, oh shit. And on the top of that, I was super pumped from this training, because I was not used to training that. It's different when you train like clearly striking, which is very explosive. There is a lot of isometric strength involved in this one, and I didn't have it at that time. And I was not, I didn't understand grappling enough at that time, so I can adjust the game to my body type. Like that time was way more explosive than than strong. So I didn't have the understanding of the game just to adapt it to the body type that I had at that time. And so I get stressed again, and I'm gonna get in trouble. And then when I was start going there, I say, okay, you guys train, and I asked the national coaches who become my best man. Then he married us with Lily. After, listen, just show me one technique and let me practice with the newbies. You guys train, okay? I just need one technique to learn. And he showed me rear naked choke. And I grabbed some from the newbies, and I showed him all training, one thing. Because it was super confusing, they was doing stuff and throws and things. I was like, shit, just how you can even fight like that? I couldn't even remember. I couldn't explain myself how you can do a triangle. Like, I was so super confident. I was just like dumb kickboxer. How the fuck someone invented a triangle to fight with? It's different way of thinking. So, and I was doing just this choke, trying just to do this, because that's one thing that I was able to grasp around, and just to think about it. And then on the last weeks, I even start escaping from the national team trainings, and we're just training with my coach. And I say, okay, like, away all this shit, I'm just gonna strike, and whatever I can do from there. And I was so the second before last week, I was just completely focused on striking, because I say, okay, like forget about all this stuff. I'm gonna do what I know, and I try to get away with that. So and then we go there on the competition. So it was in Bulgaria. So my coach came with me. He's in my corner. And I'm cutting to 68, and I'm normally fighting with 72. I was cutting to 72 as well, so it was pretty big cut.
That's a big cut. Same day weightings?
In sambo, you can pass the weight the previous day or the day on the comp, but all fights are in the same day. So when you have 5 or 6 fights till the final, it's everything in the same day.
And how many minutes rounds? 2 4-minute rounds.
No, it's 1 5-minute round is combat sambo.
Oh,
But
interesting.
you can have 4 or 5 fights on World Championship till the final.
Yeah, okay.
And the gi doesn't make it easier because there's a lot of grip fighting and stuff. It's really heavy. As, from all rule sets that I compete into, like combat sambo is the hardest one ever. Just very physically hard.
Interesting.
And the rules are brutal. I don't know how familiar with the rule set in sambo. You want to do headbutts.
Yeah, and kicking the groin, yeah?
Groin kick is legal technique as well. I never did it. A friend of mine was like that from a Russian guy, and he couldn't walk for 3 months because his cup got broken and inverted.
Oh.
A heavyweight guy. It was like, and you didn't even hear it. Like when he kicks, like, and then he pulls out like his cup was. He was like, 3 months. 3 months he couldn't train.
Fuck.
And he was winning. This guy just made to bring his hand like bam. I mean,
Maybe I don't like the groin shots, but I like the headbutt. I reckon that's cool.
yeah. Well, changes the game. Changes the game.
I would like it in MMA.
The guard game is very different with groin shots and also the gripping game. Because if you get too much into the grips and forget about the head, boom. Another guy of our team, we was pretty good team. At that time, Marco Cosnett, he's 5-time world champion, 52. He was famous with his headbutts. Like he was headbutting Russians and they were just swatting on their butt 2 meters off the mat. Boom! Like he was like a rocket. Touch hands, he's just like, gah!
Yeah. I like it.
And he was actually good with that. He kind of figured out for him, because at that time we was figuring out the rules. Like no one was really a combat sambo guy. Like we was like other kickboxer who know how to grapple. Like it was new sport at that time because they practically released combat sambo for the world. It was figuring out, or there was like sambo guys who was learning how to put it together. So it was very, very rough. But this guy for some reason he found out a good way to headbutt.
Master of the headbutt. I like it.
He was ruining people with headbutt. He was grabbing, like grip fighting, and then he goes sideways like bam, and like
yeah, being able to grip fight, grab, and then pull them in. That's cool. I like it.
It was really bad.
You think they'll do any combat sambo comps in Australia? I hear they have a new president.
Yeah. Well, the national championship was about to be here. I was going to organize.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, now it's postponed. We'll see, but once the lockdown is up, we're definitely gonna do that.
I would like to try it. I reckon it'd be fun, and I know a few guys from our gym would like to try it as well.
And our plans are once we do that to actually to help you guys to go to compete on the worlds or from the nationals. So I think I don't know. And now everything is stuck. I cannot like promise anything.
Yeah,
but ideas was we kind of found find sponsors to to help you guys to actually fight Russia to fight on the worlds. So that was the initial idea. But we see how it goes. Like hope if everything goes to some kind of normal state, we're gonna do that. But yeah, that will happen after.
Yeah, I'd like to try it. What are the weight classes like around 77?
Give me a second. I'll tell you now. Find my rules.
And same day weigh-in or 24-hour weigh-in? Yeah, around 77.
It's not 24 hours. It's 12 hours because you wait the day before evening, but you start the competition
in the morning.
Early in the morning. So it's about 12 hours. So you have to, if you cut weight like I was doing, it's a bit different from the MMA weight because you don't have so much time to recover, but you still have relatively good time to recover. So it's kind of, you have to be more mild. You cannot go like really to
crazy.
dehydrate like fully, because otherwise if you want to try to replenish for 12 hours, you have to wake up every 2 hours to eat or drink. That's what I was doing. But then it's a bit hard because you get bloated.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere in between.
In between maybe the IMMAF style and a pro weight cut. But in one, they do hydration test.
Yeah, I know about that. How you guys go with that? That's very interesting.
For me, because I've done so for the last 4 years, I've only fought under IMMAF rules. So I haven't been able to do a water cut, basically. So I just use diet and a few tricks, to get down. I compete at 84. So I walk around at 91, and I'm fairly lean at 91. So for me, it's not a big weight cut. The week before the fights, I'm within 1 or 2 kilos.
So sorry to interrupt you. So the weights for men are 74, 82, and 90.
82 is perfect. 82 is perfect for me. Yeah,
that's
cool. That's interesting. I'll keep that in mind. That'd be really cool to do.
Oh yeah, oh, hold on. Not this one. Oh, I definitely let you know, guys. And once we go out of this one, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, the team will fight under any rules. We fight boxing, kickboxing, sander. I've even fought the long pants kickboxing above the waist.
Yeah, well, in my time, the long pant kickboxing was actually more respected than wall kick and K1.
No.
Yeah, that was actually the kickboxing, and I like wall kick rules more, but because it's more like rough and there's more conditioning involved, I was better in that. There's more boxing in the long pants one. It's called full contact, but the thing is, full contact kickboxing was more respected than wall kick. But then, when K1 appeared, it changed everything. People start to like and appreciate the wall kick rules more. So then come the time of the neglected ones. It was like, oh, okay, now you start paying attention to us.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at that time we had there's even another rule set that I like a lot, which is called Oriental. Oriental was like K1 rules, but you can also throw people.
That's like shoot boxing.
Yeah, very similar to Sanda. It's more similar to Sanda. You can throw from clinch.
Yeah.
That was very fun rules. But I like Sanda a lot. I have a couple of titles in Sanda, and I like Sanda rules a lot because Sanda rules are very clear. It's very attractive to watch. They're very cool rule set.
It is a very good rule set. We've got you would have seen him fight Abdul. He fought at the Oceania. He's a Sander guy, and it's a very beautiful style to watch. Yeah, very beautiful style to watch. Spinning kicks.
Yeah, it's very very freestyle and a very nice balance between and it's very dynamic because you can only have 3 seconds in clinch.
Yeah.
And they separate you, so you have to enter and do a throw. Yeah, and you can see how good makes transition to MMA. When you see Zabit Magomed fighting,
perfect.
It's beauty. It's like song in motion. It's so beautiful stuff. It's really nice.
There's another Russian guy. He's called the King of Sander, Muslim Sokolov.
I have a friend who fought with him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, one of the best kickboxers in Bulgaria. He's friend of mine. Delian Tupalski. He fought with him, but he lost. They fought in Moscow.
Just dropped out there.
That's right.
Your friend fought Muslim.
Yeah.
How did he go?
He lost, man. He lost. Yeah, he dropped him. Knocked him out. Not heavily, but he caught him.
These things happen. In this sport.
Yeah, fight is a fight, and yeah. And I think they fought on MMA. I think they fought on MMA.
About Bulgarian wrestling. I saw you said to Coach Ed about Borba.
Borba, yeah, that's how that's what wrestling is in Bulgarian, Borba. He likes that word. He's very he's just like we're just poking back and forth, Instagram, Borba, Borba.
But they're wrestling outside. I did a Google search on this, and they're wrestling like in a town, and like everybody, all the old men, everyone wrestles, and then one guy wins, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is wrestling is very deep. It's very cultural, So this folk wrestling comes, so they're normally on grass, and they're actually season for that. It's I think it's somewhere springtime. So like, and then do them on grass somewhere outside on grass, and the thing is everyone wrestles there, like men, old people, girls. It's very fun, and it's very funny. But the thing is, even national team wrestlers wrestle on that. So it's not easy. No, even the good guys are wrestling there. They're all kind of like wacky guys or like village wrestlers, but they're also the good ones because it's very traditional. But the thing is, if you win it, you get a ram. Like wife sheep, male sheep. That's the first prize.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And you get it wife. It's a wife. You have a ram. That's it. That's the medal. I have two brothers. Actually, so one of them is my actually first professional fighter, and he's coaching now. Now the guy's back in Bulgaria. He's the main coach there. There's another coach as well, but they both won the ram once. So
that's cool. I like it.
And you normally eat it. If you don't have where to keep it, you normally eat it.
Wow. So there's one Bulgarian wrestling coach. I have his instructionals, Lubo Kabarov, and I saw it from him. I'll send you the link of him. He's very good. But yeah, that's how I saw about it. I actually knew the word Borba before Ed you said it, but I didn't know how to say it properly. So yeah, that's funny. That's tied in. Yeah. How easy is it for Bulgarians to get a visa to come out? Would you ever bring one of your students out to train or?
It's very hard, man, because it's very expensive, and then we don't really get easy visa for here because we consider like a poor country, and there's high chance that if you come here you immigrate. So they're really cautious. So you really have to get really heavy visa process to get. You can come as a tourist, for a couple of months. Yeah. It's 3 months. That's all right. It's not an issue. But the thing is, even if you have to do that, it's very expensive and it's very hard for people to afford that.
Yeah. I have one friend, one Bulgarian guy I was training with in Bali, Sotir. He fights on one.
Sotir Kichukov, I know him.
Yeah.
Sotir Kichukov is
in Melbourne right now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I'm waiting for him to finish his quarantine, and then hopefully we can train.
Okay. Sotir is a good. He's very technical. He's from a city close to where I grew up on the sea. So
okay. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Small world.
Yeah, the world is small. Like a friend of mine was saying, what's the world? Like 5,000 people that we know each other, and everyone else is just statistics.
Oh, and also, so outside of fighting, I have a kind of not a weird hobby, but I really like dogs, right? So
listen, I was about to ask you about your tattoos. I said that guy looks like my guy. Okay, tell me about it. Go about it.
So, your club name, Bully, right? You know Bull Terriers? That's the dog. Yeah. But I have an American Pit Bull. That's my type. And I also there's a Bulgarian Mountain Dog, right?
Yeah.
Karakachan.
Karakachan.
Yeah, that's it. That's like a livestock guardian. So I was interested. I did a bit of research on that. But did you have a bully back in Bulgaria? Why that name for your club?
Okay, so it's unless everything good in life, it did. The team also happened by accident.
Yeah.
So I was in this mountain city and I was working there on a project. It was wastewater treatment plant. But I was competing actively at that time. I was doing pro fights. I was already doing MMA. And I need to train. And I had a friend there from the army. He's a wrestler. And we went to a gym. And because I was kind of known, it's a small country. So like I was kind of known. Like they actually gave us a room in a gym for free just to train. And we put a couple of mats and was training because I had to fight. So I needed to train. And we was training, like this for a while, and then a couple of guys, young guys like 12, 13, they show up, and like I love the guys in this city because mountain guys are different from the guys in the big city. They're very shy, but at the same time very very tough. So like but very very humble. They're very very cool people. Very good material to work. It's a blessing to work with those guys if you're a coach.
Yeah,
so they show up and they was like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, we're training." "What is that?" And I go, "We fighting MMA." And they was like, "Can we come?" I said, "Okay, come tomorrow." Man, next day, 30 boys show up, and we have like pretty much like 8 square meters. And I was okay. We did something, like everything was on the floor because we didn't have so much mats. Like next weekend, I went both mats to mat the whole gym, and that's how we started training. And then there was a competition coming in the country. We already trained a couple of months like that. We did those guys, and there was actually one of the first grappling comps. It was called Bukido Grappling Challenge, and it was submission only, and there was no time limit until someone is finished.
I hate those rules. I hate them because I'm not a submission guy. Take too long. I'll be there for 4 hours.
I don't know. It's kind of fun. So like, and I said, okay, let's put these guys in a comp, just for the fun of it, right? And then we start training for a comp. We say, okay, now we're in a camp. We train comp. We train 2 times a day. And there's a mountain. Like every morning, we meet each other at 7 o'clock there. We run, make conditioning. But the thing is, believe me or not, 30 guys, no one misses a training.
Wow.
That's why I love these guys. They're so disciplined, these guys, because they're village guys. They used to work. And the thing with them is, nothing happens because it's a very small city. Nothing happens in this city. Once they find out there's like something that they normally watched only on the internet and stuff, MMA, they were so much into the dream. It's like beautiful time.
That's really cool, man. That's really
cool. They was
cool.
dreaming, and like if you say to some of them, do like that, there's no questions. Coach says, you do that, no hesitations, no doubts. Yeah. You say go for that, he goes for the legs. It might be mountain day, he goes for the legs. They just so into it, and they was living the dream. Like you watch these guys, like, what the fuck, it's just coach's dream. Like
that's really cool.
And even the way they were looking at you explain them stuff, and they're looking with you like trying to soak it up. Like it's just amazing. And I say, okay, let's put them in competition, just to see what's going on. It was funny ass, like they didn't have shorts or rushes. They was with. Like shorts with pockets, or some of them ask their mothers, to sew their pockets on the shorts. Funny stuff. And okay, so we was training like that, and there's awesome place to train because there's a lot of mineral water there, and there's some special currents of the air that there's a base for wrestlers and judo national teams to train there because there's something in there. There's a camp and like there's a track that you run, and there's like bars and some stations. You do some conditioning. It's really nice set. You go up to the peak of the mountain, so you run, you do something, then you run, there's another station, you do something else. So we was doing this every morning. So there's really good condition, and And then I had to register for the comp, but we don't have a name. We're just training. And I have 2 bulldogs at that time. Old English Bulldog and English Bulldog. You know Old English Bulldog? That's
yeah. I know exactly.
your
Yeah.
dog guy. You know, well, it's the original Bulldog that's supposed to fight with animals. So like, he was enjoying that because like every morning I was taking with him because I anyway have to walk the dog. He was running with the team. You know, he was super happy. And then I tried to register, but I had to register for some kind of name because to know that we were together. And first I was thinking Bulldog, but that sounds pretty dumb for a team name. And I was thinking around it, and then comes Bully.
Yeah,
First of all, Bully team sounds good. Second, it's a bit of Bully's a bit like a bad guy, the guy who tortured the other. So I think its dominant name is good for the fight team. Then Bully, like BUL, is the abbreviation of Bulgaria, so it's kind of
cool.
And it kind of stick, and I re-registered as Bully team. And man, these guys. So like we show up and like there was no the team that was organizing that was the first MMA team in the country. There was no MMA teams at that time. So there was people from all kind of sports, judo guys, wrestling guys. So we registered as pretty much when we registered, there was actually the second MMA team in the country.
Wow.
And they go there. So we go in the capital. We go in the gym. So they had a rink inside, mats, posters on the wall, and we train in a gym with where they had like mirrors for dancing. And these guys, see that, and they're village boys, and they walk. They say, "Oh fuck," they think that the UFC has seen them, talking with each other. And it was huge for them. It just, it's just like regular gym, like nowadays. But at this time, there was no gyms like that with bags, and not at least in their city, with rink and with mats and with all these posters and pictures. And I thought, when I saw them that they're being so impressed, I said, oh damn, like they're gonna suck it up, they're too much impressions, But man, when these guys step on the mat, they with t-shirts, the t-shirts that they carry.
That's cool.
They look like village boys, not just the village guy. But when these guys step on the mat, bro, they believe so much into their training. They ruin everything.
Yes.
It was like I couldn't believe that, that was pretty much like my first attempt as really as a coach, and they were just going, and when I say go for it, he's like, take it up. There was a guy, that was the best story. There was a guy, he was 13, and he was about 100 kilos, big guy. Well, like chubby, but just natural giant, just a mountain guy. So, and he has a match in heavyweight, obviously, and there's his opponent is a guy, he's a friend of mine, he's now coaching. So these guys will like rip on steroids with the tools, and he already had the pro fights. And he stayed against him, these guys with the shorts, with the suit pockets. And I was my wife was me, I said, give me the towel. It was the first time they engaged, I was about to throw the towel. Because, looks scary, he's a 13, he's a kid. These guys with like steroids, like the tools, like he was training guy, he was doing pro fights. And because he was so big, we was calling him the bomb, just like big guy. I said, listen, bomb, like, don't greet this guy. When they take you fight, you just go for the legs. And he said, bro. And I was like, he take him down and I throw the towel. Bro, they give him fight, and the Bobby just like for the leg, but he took him down, take the back.
Oh,
that was insane. And bro, hilarious. And they finished the fight. The bomb is like on the top of the world, he's the first in the village. Everyone knows him. And that was the funniest ever. Then this guy, he's almost crying, you know, the big guy. He's like, how long you train? The bomb is like, 2 months.
Oh,
And I was dying. And that's how the team started.
that's cool. That's a really cool story. I like it.
It just started like that, and they're still producing awesome fighters, but they're way more refined now. That was the start of it. But the boys in this city, they're just awesome material to it. They dream for every coach, hardworking, love it, and they believe it so much. And they're still doing good because they're the only team in the city. Everyone knows it's and we're a very good team. We compete everyone.
That's really cool.
But yeah, unfortunately, we cannot get to IMMAF because of this thing, so that's kind of sucks. But yeah, I love those boys. They're really awesome.
That's a shame. That's a shame when politics get in the way of things like that.
Yeah, they should stay away from the sport, but it's inevitable in a way. How speaking about politics, you know about this drama between IMMAF and Gamma, and you're kind of on the both sides of it because you had your amateur career in IMMAF, and now you compete in ONE FC. How you stay about that?
So for me, I'm about the sport first,
Sure.
and then the fighters second. So I put my energy into that. Obviously, I hear things and I see things, and it's a real shame when people's egos can get in the way for the betterment of the sport. I want everyone I coach or train or compete with to be safe and fight the best guys possible. So whether I see both sides of the story. I think I sound like a politician right now, don't I?
That's all right.
I think there's good points on both sides. And for me, yeah, I just want to see our guys and our team do really well. One of my teammates, Mark Grayson, actually won the Gamma Worlds. And he's a pro and he's signed to ONE as well. And we competed at IMMAF Worlds together. So for him, you know, he's a pro and he wanted to fight more. He couldn't get much experience. He can't fight in IMMAF. So the only logical thing is for him to go and fight in Gamma and fight in tournaments and be able to do that. So I think the positives there for guys like him, but maybe guys like Corey or Abdul or Colby, while they're still purely an amateur, keep doing the IMMAF, and then maybe see, you know, once they go pro, they can't fight IMMAF anymore. So Gamma's a good option. I hope nobody takes what I've said the wrong way, but there's positives and negatives to both things. I fought IMMAF. I coached IMMAF. Yeah. What do you think, sir?
I'll tell you my take on that. So I fully support IMMAF because I think their concept for developing of the sport is better. I mean, from amateur side.
They've got youth. They've got kids. Yeah, but I think that's pretty obvious. I agree with you on that.
And the thing is, if MMA ever gets into Olympics, it's gonna be with IMMAF.
Yes.
Because they have educational platform and they're way ahead, and their rule set also better. And what I don't like with professional athletes to compete with the amateur rules, I think that's stupid and shouldn't be allowed. That's not what amateur sport should be. But in the same time, so I'm on IMMAF on this side, but in the same time, I think both as federation they actually target different different group of people.
For sure.
So the pathway that IMMAF provides, and if I'm on control of something, I would advise him to take this path. Is so you start as let's say start from the beginning. You start as a kid, competing kids rules, get proficient with the rules, progress further, youngsters, youth rules, go further, qualify for national team, eventually take a medal, become world champion. Then you can choose, shall you stay as amateur, you should turn professional. If you stay as an amateur, then eventually the sport gets into Olympics. You can try to be one of the first Olympic champions, which is historical thing to achieve. Or if you decide to turn professional, then this path separate. Then you can. Many of the guys, not many, like I think 5 of the world champions last year, they actually get contracts with UFC, which is pretty good number. So it's then you can get to UFC or like some of those networks, which is very good, because when you reach there, you with MMAF rules, you're preserved. You haven't reached your potential, so you have full chance to actually become a champion in a professional network, because you're very good, you're very skilled, but you're healthy, you don't have so much injuries, and your peak of athletic performance and skill and athletic growth is still not achieved. So you can develop into the UFC and become a real champion. Because many athletes, especially for smaller countries like Bulgaria, they have a problem with they achieve UFC or Bellator when they are already on or a bit after their peak as an athlete. So the problem then becomes, okay, now you're in the big league, but you're already on your peak. Is that peak going to be enough for you to become champion in UFC or Bellator? Or maybe you start declining, you won't be able to take the belt. So that's a problem for people who come from other sports after their peak. And you can see many guys who are actually on peak on their sport when they go to UFC. Like a very bright example is Ben Askren, who is a astounding wrestler. He actually really sucked into MMA.
Yeah.
He didn't go good just because it was after his peak of an athlete. I mean, it's like a gas tank. Unfortunately, our sport, every sport in the world, is race against the time. So you have just with the aging, there's a time that you're in your peak, but after this, like you cannot beat age. It just
for sure. There's a very short window of opportunity, and for guys to maximize that, it's odd. But conversely to that, I think a lot of Australian guys get into the UFC too early, and they might have 5. So it's the opposite too.
That's the opposite. Okay, so the problem, the evil is always in the extremes. You know, if you get too early, again, you get too much injuries before you actually develop those. That's useless.
You can't develop. It's hard to become a good fighter when you're in the UFC. You should already be a great fighter.
Yes, very, 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 very good point. It's not a participation sport.
No, fuck no.
You cannot just sign up and yay, I'm here for for the Olympic principles, like participation. No, it doesn't work like this. It's just very dangerous sport. Awesome sport, but very dangerous. So getting back to this, so what Gamma gives is for athletes who already have maybe some professional experience in other combat sports or something like this.
Yeah.
Chance to make transition to MMA and practically to feed up their professional tournament. So they target completely different group of people, group of athletes. So for me, there is no real conflict except the thing that Gamma claims that they want to bring the sport into Olympics, and that's what makes trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
And makes trouble, and that's very important for people to understand, because it's clear for the people who are into a sport, but it's not clear for many coaches and athletes just because they have nowhere to understand this from. And the thing comes like that. So when there's another, so that's on level Olympic committee. So when there could be only one federation governing a sport in the world. So that for the moment being is IMMAF, but in the moment Gamma starts claiming that they want to bring the sport to Olympics, their World Federation, that gives tools to the Olympic Committee to say, We cannot recognize the sport because there's another federation who governs the sport in the world.
Yeah, it's not united. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem because as you know, there is a lot of opposition anyway to bring MMA on Olympics, just because on this high level it becomes a political thing, as always, you know, which always ruins the sport that we already talked. But it's about money, and from any sport in the world, which one you're gonna watch in Olympics if MMA is Olympics? MMA is the most attractive sport in the world from any combat sport. And if you have been watching Olympic Taekwondo, sorry for Taekwondo guys, that competition sucks. It's the most boring thing. I like to watch hurdles, you know, like female gymnastics over Taekwondo. It just like it looks dumb. It just fighting doesn't work like this. So, but they're already in Olympics, and they know if MMA gets in Olympics, there is big chance for them to fall off. There is also resistance from wrestling federation because a lot of wrestlers actually make transition to MMA, so they're afraid of losing athletes over them going to MMA. So that's another combat sport that's actually resisting of MMA getting into Olympics. Same with judo, and that creates this tension. So from the other combat sport, they don't really want us into Olympics because of viewers, and that's a problem. So that's why IMMAF imposed this ban of you know, people competing in GAMA to compete in IMMAF. But I personally think that was a political mistake for IMMAF, and I'll tell you why. If you're the best federation in the world, as it is, IMMAF is, you don't need the ban to prove that. That only gives credit to GAMA. So that was politically a mistake.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And then when you impose a ban, then you naturally receive a negative reaction because people don't like bans. Now we want ban to go out, and even if you would stay home, even if you would stay home Saturday and Sunday, now you're like, oh, how I can get out? Because there is ban. That's how people are made of. Yeah. And when we have imposed ban, people start reacting, oh, like, who are you to ban? That's amateur athletes, and they all this, because they didn't explain well why they imposed the ban. And the ban is imposed because if you compete in the GAMA amateur tournament, they might be there professional athletes, so they ban it because you kind of, you know, level with these professional athletes being there. So I personally, I support IMMAF with everything, but I think the ban was a political mistake from their side. They shouldn't ban athletes because it's very hard to amateur athletes and coaches to understand these politics. They're too far from them.
Agreed.
Most, as an athlete, I imagine myself when I was like 15, 16 competing, I don't give a shit about, you know, federations. I just want to fight.
You just want to compete, compete as much as you can.
And when you impose this ban, they're like, oh, these guys are banning me, and you don't really, you don't have the capacity to deep into the issues. It's just too far from you. Or you want to win your next championship or your tournament or whatever. So that's why I think that the ban was a mistake. They should make clear rules, you know, like you should be amateur, and when you compete, and you know, to have these clear rules, what is amateur athlete, and how you're eligible to compete in IMMAF. That should be clear, and I think that would be better than a ban, because even in the same gym you can have people who choose a different path, and they should supposed to be free to do that. So in the same gym I have someone who wants to choose the IMMAF path, which I prefer to any of my students do, but you might have a guy who wants to choose the GAMA path because he's let's say he's now 30, and he has like a couple of years left from his of his athletic life, or he wants to give it a try, and it's just a different situation for these guys, and that might be his chance, you know, to make his best achievement in sports. So I cannot blame him. So in the same gym you can have like people who benefit from both targets. But the problem with GAMA is with their claim that they're World Federation. That's the whole thing. If they don't have this one, won't be an issue.
Silly.
And this claim is actually doing more harm to the sport than good, because that actually slows down of recognition of MMA as an Olympic sport than actually helps it, because they cannot catch up IMMAF as countries that IMMAF has as rules set as development. But only this claim makes this trump. But the reaction of IMMAF was not clever as well. The ban was not clever reaction. They should be more clever politically. That's my goal. And I'm, from my perspective, like, take it to leave it, like, I'm not imposing this on anyone, but that's the problem. That's, clearly unemotional explanation of the situation of both sides, and that's why they cannot get along together. That's the issue.
Agreed. It's a shame for the sport, because why divide and conquer and make things weak instead of everything being strong together? Yeah. Anyway, that's silly. That's silly.
Well, apparently this is a sweet pill to bring the sport in Olympics. Everyone wants to do that, but it's very hard to, I think, for Gamma to admit that they won't be the guys who will bring the sport in Olympics. I guess because they put a lot of money in that, so they want to be the guys, but they just don't have the structure. And then their concept is not of Olympic sport. Their concept of the amateur tournament is just feeding professional tournament, which is cool. It's all right.
I reckon that's really cool.
I think it's fine, but they should let the Olympic thing away, and that should be perfectly fine. But in the same time, I told you, like, my opinion for the ban is like it was mistake politically. They should approach more clever to that. Bans never work.
Do you think that getting MMA into the Olympics is the best thing for the sport?
To be honest, I don't know. Because I'm very...
Look at what happened to judo in the Olympics. Yeah. They've taken away leg attacks. Look at what happened with taekwondo. Look at amateur boxing. There's a lot of politics and trouble with that too.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I don't know, because I like more science in the sport, but I don't like much regulations. The thing with the Olympic sport has a lot of regulations, and to a certain degree they're reasonable. But again, as I mentioned before, like evil is always in the extremes. When you go in any extreme, it creates problems. So if you overregulate the combo sport, it's not a combo sport anymore. In the same time, if you don't regulate the combo sport at all, it's not a sport. It's a massacre. So the truth is always in between, but it's the thing is very hard for the people to keep balance. They always like lean to one extreme to another.
For sure. Like, the positives are obviously exposure. It somewhat legitimizes the sport in a lot of people's eyes, but there is negatives too. So, as you said, the in between would be the best case. But yeah, I don't know. I love this sport and the freedom that it provides. It's free fighting. So I hope. It's a tricky situation. It is a tricky situation.
Well, I could say for the moment being, the race of this sport to get into Olympics is good for the sport, because it makes people to work, to come together, to put stuff together. So for the moment being, it's good. If it ever gets into Olympics, it's a tipping point. That's why it will become kind of tricky to preserve the sport as it is, and not to overregulate it, because then it's not going to be the same sport. So then it's going to be another challenge. But you're far, like life is full of challenges. What's one more?
Yeah, true.
There's always problem, and there's always be something to work over. But the thing is, I look at it like this. Overregulation of judo give birth to to sambo and jiu-jitsu. So people will always come to this end that they overregulate something, but the fighting is always there. So
Yeah.
if they overregulate this one, there will be another form of fighting which will be free. Which that's why I clearly hope they never overregulate MMA, because the tendencies that I see really suck. So I don't know what's your point on that, but when I look at bare knuckle boxing and stuff, that's disgrace for all combo sports. That's total
You
shit.
don't like
I fucking
it?
hate it. I fucking hate it. That's crap. That's like what's
Why?
next, to take spears and to jump on horses to because
I
it's
would
not a
like
sport.
to take the spears, so spears and jump on horses and really go at it. I like the bare knuckle.
I don't. I hate it. I think it's disgrace for the sport. I like boxing, but I hate this one. I don't even talk with people about that. I just hate it so much. It's so it's like the sport of boxing was developing for hundreds of years, and then it goes back to where it started. What's the point of that? It just they coming back to where it started, and all this developing goes away. That's stupid, and that's all for entertaining of people. I hate that. It's sport should be for the athletes, not for entertaining people. Entertainment is secondary. I don't know. I don't like it. I hate it, and I think it's disgrace for the sport. But obviously,
So
on the
you're-
other shore of that.
You're
So.
telling me if you had the chance to jump on a horse with a spear and fight another man, you wouldn't do
Not if I can heal him.
it. Yes. Okay. I see your point.
If we're talking about sport, sport should be dangerous enough to be entertaining, but not dangerous not too dangerous for people so can practice it. So that's what is sport. That's where combat sport should be in middle.
Your issue with the bare knuckle is the danger?
Yeah.
Okay, that I can understand for sure.
And I think, and what I don't like is the explanation that they say why it is less dangerous than the normal boxing. It's absolute bullshit. I don't like people to throw shit on me that are not true. Like that's what pisses me off more. So it's not less dangerous to fight without gloves than with gloves for both guys. For the guys who is on punching side and the guy who is on the punch side. That's stupid. That's just not true.
Okay, I'd like to see the statistics on the amount of punches thrown in bare knuckle versus the amount of punches thrown with the gloves. And obviously you have a lot more cuts in bare knuckle, but what the difference in concussive trauma would be between the two. I'd be really interested to see that.
Well, I don't think there is much difference because punch is a punch. From mechanical point of view, for your brain is the same. But you just add, hand damage to that, and obviously
you're gonna break your hands. You're gonna break your hands for sure.
And the thing is, how many fighters can heal their hands after every fight? That's 6 months. So the thing is, that's very how to say, I can't find the English word, but that sport is very, very bad for the fighters themselves, because if you have to heal your hands 6 months after every competition, how good you can become in sport like that?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's not a sport you can excel. That's a sport that you can entertain people and make money, but it's not a sport you can excel. So from my perspective, that's entertainment. It's not a sport.
Yeah.
And how many people can actually do that and develop into sport like that because they cannot work? If you break your hand, what you can work? You cannot work manually. You cannot work on computer. Try to work with a broken hand.
I'm a mechanical plumber. I wouldn't be able to work with a broken hand.
That's what I'm saying. So that also limits the number of people who can practice that. So this sport is just determined not to develop because people cannot become good in that. Yeah, it might be Might be some guys who naturally show some kind of talent here and there, but that's gonna be it, because it cannot become a sport that people become good in. Because
Okay, what about the left way, Burmese boxing? The headbutt,
yeah, I was watching some.
really
I was
bare
watching
knuckle,
some.
and they kick.
I was watching some, and actually, I learned about this from this guy. He was on Joe Rogan podcast, and I listened to him and say, "Oh, like,
Dave Leduc.
yeah." But listen, I watched a couple of fights. They're not really good. They're not really good. No, they're not. They're not really skilled. I mean, like the rule set is brutal, but the skill of the guys who fight is not so high. And I believe for the same reason, they just cannot practice the sport in a safe way enough to become really good. Because even if you, I believe I have like a bit of understanding for the combo sport from being in them, like I don't know, like 20 something years already. So I can see an athlete if he's good, even if he's in a rules that I don't like taekwondo, but I can see a good athlete perform. I can say, okay, these guys know how to fight his rules. And these guys, they fight their rules, but they're not, they're far from mastery of the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very different. It's one thing to see a wrestler who is like rough and strong. Another thing is to see a master wrestler. It's the same sport, but you can make the difference. So that's my goal when I was watching this one, because when I listened to this Leduc guy and the poster say, oh, that sounds interesting. And I watched a couple of fights. And I was like, oh, these guys are not that good. That looks like a bone fighting.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, obviously they train, they have technique and stuff, but they're very far from, let's say, level amateur Oceania.
Yeah.
The guys who fought on Oceania was actually better. They're better masters on the fighting game, on their sports. These guys are just, they fight for money, but first of all, they don't fight for so much money, and second, they cannot develop as an athlete, like to systemize their knowledge and their athletic performance to a degree that it's something that would impress me. I probably am biased because I'm looking for a coaching and athletic perspective. But for me, it's entertaining to see two masters of the sport, trying to impose their game, than to see people brutalize each other. It's just not entertaining for me. I have seen that enough to to be impressed by that.
See, I like both.
Well, that's why different. Well, listen, that's why different thing exists, because people have different opinions. That's nothing bad into it. It's totally fine. So I have this opinion, and you like them. It's fine.
But don't get me wrong, Sev. I don't want to be the one getting brutalized.
Well, that's the point. How long you can keep winning. How long you can keep winning. That's the point. Because sooner or later in a combo sport, there is a time, unfortunately, that there's someone better, or his style is uncomfortable for you, and we all know that's the reality. No one is the best in the world in the combo sport.
For sure.
And then it becomes okay how you go through that. But the thing with those rule sets, yeah, they're entertaining, but you cannot make sports out of them. And I get. Probably because I'm getting older, I'm more entertained from developing a sport, and like it's progressing. You can see an athlete who starts with you and then evolves and becomes a master of the sport, then looking to brutal stuff. Yeah, it's entertaining from time to time to look in brutal rule sets, but they don't hold any value from a coaching perspective, from educational perspective for the humans, for the people involved. So I personally don't see value from a development perspective in lightweight and in bare knuckle boxing from my point of view. That's my goal on it. So yeah, what I think those sports we always stay on a point where they're just entertaining, and there'll be occasional fighters who drop and make fights there, then being developed from enough people to master them.
With the bare knuckle, it's all ex MMA fighters that are on the tail end of their career. They probably know it's not sustainable, and they're looking for one or two last fights to cash out. You can see that for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So
they don't
I
have
don't
a
see.
young superstar that's coming up in bare knuckle because he's not going to last.
Not gonna last too much. I think that's probably in Muay Thai, at least the way they train in Thailand, because the guys who excel there and they're good, they're very small percentage from all guys who actually train Muay Thai, and that's sad. So because they put the money before the sport there, and they in order to produce couple of like amazing champions, they injure like hundreds if not thousands of kids on the way to there. So where is the development in that? Like a sport for me should bring benefit for the community, for the people. So it should educate people. That's the purpose of sport. It's not entertaining is part of it, but sport should make people better. Not only people who are involved in the sport, people who follow the sport, who watch the sport. Sport is educational because everyone wants, especially doesn't matter boy or girl. Boys want to be as the strongest people they see. Girls want to be like as the prettiest girls they see. So these always in the history was the athletes. The strongest and the most beautiful people are the athletes. And because that are the athletes, we naturally imitate the behavior and what athletes do. So it's very important as a society to keep athletes and to athletes to give good example to people, because by their performance, not many realize they actually influence many people down the line who actually
For
want
sure.
to be like them. So that's why it's so important sports to be educational and to preserve the athletes. One of the main reasons what I don't like these entertainments, they're not sports, is because they waste athletes. Now these
Don't
are
you think that, like, at the top levels of MMA, it's become more about entertainment and less about the sport?
unfortunately yes.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Unfortunately yes, because you can see now they're making fights because of the names,
Yeah.
not about the rank lists. And I don't want that. I want to see who is the best in the world. I think that's entertaining.
Yeah.
I think the old champions like Jose Aldo and this from the old generation, there was actually true change because they was fighting who the guy who qualified as a
Yeah. The
personal champion.
contender, you take the number one contender spot, and then you become
Yeah, and as a champion, you
you
have no
fight.
choice. You have to fight the contender. The guy who becomes contender, you have to fight him, and that was entertaining to see how a champion have to adapt his style to this new guy who is hungry and who is as this style, to bring him out to the contender place and try to be that. That was, I think that gives more development to the sport because you can see, how those fighting styles adapt, or like how these guys fight with this. Oh, now he's a striker, now I have to fight a wrestler, or he's a jiu-jitsu guy, has to bring this guy to the ground. Like how he does that. That's pushes more development to the sport, makes the sport to grow. Then the fights that unfortunately now they're dominating because of the money they make is like, oh, this guy who talks that, or this guy say that, or this guy
Yeah.
looks like that. I think for entertainment point of view, it's probably makes more money and I'm
100%.
not entertained.
100%.
But as for, again, from sport development side, it's more detrimental for the sport than the old system. Well, that's my goal on that.
For me, like, I'm a sport purist first. Don't get me wrong. I like to be entertained, but I approach this like I used to play soccer or football, and I'm a sportsman. I come from a sporting background. So when the Connor gets to fight the cowboy or something like that, to me it cheapens the sport a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not really into the ring girls walking around. It's not my thing. I like beautiful women, don't get me wrong, but that's not sport.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, it's that's my goal as well. it just. What about the guys who cannot talk so much, but they're better fighters? I want to see the best fighter in the world. I want to know who is the best fighter in the world in that moment, because that's what entertains me. Even if he's talking less and he's better fighter, I want to see him fighting. I want to see how he deals with the problems of having to fight with this guy or that guy. That's what is interesting for me. I think I'm biased because I'm into the sport, so like I look at the sport with different eyes, and I'm not just a fan.
Sure, for sure.
But I think that's entertaining enough by itself, so it can entertain the fans of the sport and also the guys who understand the sport, because there will be always will be this conflict between both groups: guys who are involved in the sport who wants actually to see who is the best guy in the world, and guys who are like just regular fans who don't train, they just want the show. But there is enough showing that to see who is the best fighter in the world, and to make a fighter who has a big mouth and everything to work his way up to the top, and then he can fight for it. Your mouth shouldn't be enough to make no matter how much you're talking.
Yeah,
that's how I understand. But
like for me, for instance, I can talk shit if I need to, but I don't want to. I just want to fight, Like, I don't want to have to talk shit. That just comes out. So it's interesting. And, you got to sell yourself on social media and blah, 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 blah. That's the beauty of IMMAF, why I liked it. You don't get a choice who you're going to fight. Oh, I'm only going to fight this guy in my hometown and I'm going to get all my friends there. You don't get a choice. You have to fight the guy. It could be the Russian 30-0 guy from Dagestan, or it could be a guy from Korea that's fought 10 times. You have to fight. So IMMAF and amateur sport is the purest form of sport, in my opinion.
I was about to say that, but you told it before me. That's what I like. It's the purity of the sport. That's what I enjoy. And the purity and mastery of the sport, I would always enjoy more to watch and to partake than the show. But show is always there. It's always entertaining to see a good fight. But if this good fight is between masters of the sport, guys who are master of the art of fighting, I think there's nothing more entertaining than that, more interesting to watch.
Yeah, cool. Have you got any guys that are coming up that, like, obviously you've got Amir doing looking at doing the sambo. What about anyone in the IMMAF team, or like, would you like to go to the Worlds and see what that's like?
I have a young guy who actually just won the Yacht tournament in Oceania. He's developing really good. He's now he just turned 14, I think. And I hope he just keeps training. He even trains at home now. Like he's into
awesome.
it. He's developing really, really good, and he already trained about. He's gonna make 2 years, so he start to look as a fighter. Like before 2 years, everything is just mixture. And about your second year of training, you start actually to understand what is it about. He competes regularly, so he's a guy who I hope he's healthy and keeps training. His brother is training as well, but his brother is more like he's a bit older. He's more this that he started interesting by many, which is alright. This always comes, but this is a guy who is coming. The others kind of have a couple of new guys. The plan was, to take them out this year to start grappling. If they're doing good, eventually to move them to the local IMMAF tournament.
So, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I saw you and there was a Bulgarian. I think he was a Bulgarian guy at the Arnold's in Melbourne.
No, I went with Amir then. Amir was fighting.
Oh, okay. Because I remember seeing the Bully shorts back then, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen these guys on the scene. Who are they? Plus the cool outfits,
Yeah.
I,
That
I
was actually
wasn't sure
Amir's first
who that fight.
competition, and I watched your fight. I watched your fight. I don't remember who you fought with, but I
Fought
said,
a guy called Sam Lawson. He actually competed at light heavyweight in the IMMAF.
yeah. But I saw this guy is good, and there was a couple of other guys from your team, and I said, oh, that's a good team, and I remember you from there. But then the paths crossed, and I actually meet you. But I remember you from there. I saw you there. You did a really good performance, and I see, oh, this guy is actually like he's playing good because I think you won by ground and pound stoppage,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong. Yeah, but I like your performance because it was complex. You was striking good, make a good transition on the ground. Took him down. You was good with the pins and freeing your hands and say, "Oh, that's MMA," and I really enjoy working. So I remember you. I remember from there.
Yeah, that's funny, huh?
I still didn't know Coach Ed and anyone. I just remember you because I watched the guys and watched the game and say, okay, that guy plays good. And I remember you from there. And then the paths crossed.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
smoke.
crazy, man. That's crazy. What do you think is the future for these IMAF guys? Like now the UFC's got a lot of eyes on them. Do you think it'd be wise to go straight from IMAF to the UFC if they've got 30 plus amateur fights? Or do you think they should have the UFC should have a feeder league, I suppose, which like the Dana White Contender Series is, and maybe
I
get a few of the
think
guys straight to that?
I think you shouldn't go into UFC if you're not world champion.
Yep.
But if you're world champion, I don't see a reason
So
if you
I
want.
think, and I'm a little bit biased because I was never a world champion in IMAF, but I think the top four guys in IMAF, any of those top four could be world champion. It just depends on the draw and luck.
That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair.
And
Yeah, there's a lot of
I'm
luck
not only
involved in.
saying that because I got top four twice.
No,
What I
no.
believe, you know?
No, you're absolutely right because it styles makes fights, and in a tournament you never know. Like sometimes I often give an example. We have three guys. This guy beats that guy. This guy beats that guy. This guy beats that
Exactly.
guy. And it all depends who fights first. So it's like that. It's true, but I think if you, at least you should get a medal on World Championship.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least. Because my goal on that is like except for the money, what's the reason that that's what professional? You want to become world champion, isn't it? That's the main thing. You have to make a legacy. If you're not the best amateur in the world, what you're trying to do in the professionals, right? So you have to feel that you're good enough as an amateur to turn to professional in
Okay.
order to become world champion. So
Now,
I think
those four guys and most of the tournaments I've been in, the top four are all grapplers. The tournament format favors grapplers a lot more than strikers. So,
true.
for instance, say Luciano is a really good striker, and he's better at fighting on a one night than in a tournament. I think that's a little bit different as well.
It is. That's true. That's a good
There
point
is a
because
style that wins the tournaments more than one off.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, and there's something else from other side. Strikers are more favored in the professional game because people
100%.
like to watch strikers more. So that's also true. Yeah, and then you're right. This IMF rule set because the tournament favors grapplers more, just because they can by progressing through the brackets, they're more preserved as injuries than
Sure, for
strikers
sure.
who go in striking wars. And yeah, that's true. There's a bit bias into that. That's true. You're very right in that. Yeah, you're right. I agree. I agree. I buy that. So I admit it.
There,
Admit it. It makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. So my first tournament was in Las Vegas with IMMAF, and I just did kickboxing. I fought 3 kickboxing fights with MMA gloves in 3 days. It was stupid. My face was beat up. My hands, I couldn't close my hands, and I lost in the quarterfinals. So then I had to take a different approach. So, like, I recommend everyone to do the IMAF, all the guys, and play smart. But if you're more of a striker, keep that up your sleeve too. You know, like on the one night fights, you can strike more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair point. And I admit that you're actually right. You're very right with that. Yeah, that's true. But look at this side. That pushes you, to make your grappling defensive grappling better. So that's still good for your development. So you can
100%,
play there. So
100%.
it's still good. It's still good. And once you make it good enough, so you can get medal from the worlds. I think it's and you have enough fights because you can just get once because there was no people in the
Yeah,
brackets, and
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
not the thing. You need to have enough experience. I think you need between 30 50 fights as amateur to be fairly reasonably to turn professional.
Yep, I think that's a good number. I'd probably say,
Because
yeah, 25, 30 up, and then you're ready to go pro.
Yeah, because in any sport, a combo sport, before your 10th fight, you don't really what's going on. So this doesn't count. You still, like swinging and, just so messy. And then you,
Wow.
you come
Yeah,
out and
yeah,
just, did I won or lost? Like, what happened? You still not think. You start thinking about your 10th fight. And that's with every fight, every athlete. You start thinking, you start understanding about your 10th fight. Then when you start understanding, then you actually start to create your own style, to develop the game, and start to think in a fight. Then you actually start to fight. Before 10 fight, you just touching the wall. You still don't know what's going on. But
yeah. I
about the
agree.
after the 10th fight, you realize that okay, I'm not dying. It's not life on that situation. You're not so emotional about going to that. You are, because everyone is, but it's your brain start working, so rational mind start working. You start to perceive, start to react, start to think, and then you have time, to become good, actually, to master your game, to master the sport. Yeah, and then after this, once you master your game, you need a certain time to polish this game and to bring it on a level that you actually master your own game. So that if that takes more like 10, 20 fights, we come to a 30 fights minimum before you actually master your own game. Then
Yeah,
over that, it's all about the moment in your weight class that you're targeting, your opponents that you can choose them on. But for me, before you make 10 fights, you have nothing to do with professionals. That's stupid. If you don't have 10
100%.
fights, you have nothing to do. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know what's going on there. You don't understand the sport. You're a newbie. You don't know what's going on there. You're gonna fight guys who come from Russia or like then you have like 150, 200 amateur matches. Over there
Yeah,
grappling experience. It's pointless. Why you should do that? Why should you do that to yourself? Feed the ones. You want to win. That's the point of the game. It it doesn't. There's no point for you to do that, from my
I
perspective.
agree. I agree.
Before 10 fights, even if you're
Anticipation.
super talented, you have nothing to do in a professional sport. Yes, if you, let's say, you're so bright talent, because there are people like that. There are people who are just super talented, who just like really excel everyone because of their few of this people. But I think you have to go through their 10 fights. It's so talented that there is no match for them. Yeah, it's all right. They're all kind of people. They're just talents. But they're people who just feel the game so good. They're so bright as everyone else. Yeah, it's all right. But they still need to go through these 10 fights. My opinion, speaking numbers.
I would agree with that. I reckon that's solid.
Well, that was easy talk. We're already talking 2 hours.
Oh, that's crazy. And Sev, I want to send you up one of my shirts, and I'd love it if you could send me one of yours. I love the logo, the name, everything. It's
I
cool.
will. I haven't forget that. I remember that, and that's on my list. I have it.
Perfect. Perfect.
I
That'd be
put
cool.
it
I'd love
on
to
my
wear one.
notes. No rush for Jay. I'll do this, and that would be pleasure to give. What size shorts you are?
Medium.
Medium.
Yeah,
Okay.
medium or large.
Okay. I'll do that once the walk down is up. I'll make
Yeah,
a full
cool.
set.
Perfect. Perfect. That'd be awesome.
Okay,
And,
brother. Sorry.
yeah, keep me up to date with the Sambo stuff and all of that, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Oh, always, brother. We haven't recently because it was all crazy about Oceania, but normally we will poke each other with Coach Ed, and
Yeah, cool.
yeah, we're always in touch. At least in Instagram, there he's a bit active, I don't know if he has Facebook at all, but in Instagram he's like
No, he's on the ground. He's on the ground.
he's Instagram. Coach Ed is awesome. I love him because he's a guy who loved the sport from his heart, and you can see that he's just all in.
For sure, he's a very unique guy, and yeah, he loves the sport and he loves his fighters, and yeah, he's a good guy to be around.
Yeah, he's a good coach. He's a good coach.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. Cool.
Well, with him, man, like when I was making the podcast with him, so it was first or the second. I think he was actually the first.
I listened to it. This is how I got on to listening to you, and yeah.
Man, so we went to a coffee, spoke to 2-3 hours. They say, okay, let's go record the podcast. Then we said, what we gonna talk now? Talk about hour and something. Then we got hungry, went to a pizza shop and talked for 3 more hours.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but he's like you. He just like we just talking like
Easy.
Easy. Just goes. And then don't even measure time or anything. Just like it goes easy. It's really nice. There are people who you just connect and just goes easy. With some it's harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to ask this question for the end. What is worth fighting for? What's your reason to fight?
For me, there's something inside of me that I need to get out. And I'm not an angry guy. I don't want to hurt anyone, but there's this burning fire inside that I need to get out and express myself. And I'm fortunate that I found athletics and now fighting. So it's a form of self-expression for me. So it's, my fight to show everyone what's inside of me.
Well, not only because of Coach Ed, I also really like you, and you impressed me from the first time I saw you in Melbourne. So you're really good, and I really hope you have like a good run into the sport, and I'm really proud with your development as well. I follow your fights. I haven't watched your second fight in one. I watched the first one that someone posted, and I was like, oh, that's Jen. Like, I was watching you. I was really happy for you to pull it out. So
Thank you.
So yeah, how you see our sport goes after we get out of this lockdown? How you see that?
I think it's going to explode. There's going to be events everywhere, and I think there's going to be a lot of fat fighters. There's going to be a lot of fit fighters, and this lockdown is going to show the people that are real sportsmen that want it and want to compete at a high level, and the people that do it for fun that think they want to do it on a high level. Like, I know all of our guys are training super hard still. I'm doing 2 a days. I'm not working. So I'm training twice a day. I'm watching tape. I'm watching instructionals. I bought instructionals off the internet. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. I think so. I think like everything else, that's just a challenge. And also I look at it as an opportunity. I actually train now more than I was training normally, because normally when I'm in the gym I'm coaching. Now I have like I have time to train again.
Cool.
I have the guilty pleasure of it, because I cannot, I just don't have the time to do it otherwise. And I
Your
kind of,
wife can hold pads for you though, right?
Hmm?
Your wife can hold pads?
No, not really. Not bad. But yeah, we're training together, and we was grappling before, and we was training together, but she's more conscious about it now, because she stopped fighting because she broke her hand.
Okay.
And I actually stopped fighting because of her, because it was a nasty break. It was on training. It was training back in Bulgaria, in Sofia, and actually it was on a wrestling class, because I have wrestling coach in to work with my team, because I was competing and coaching at the same time. So a wrestling coach was working 2 times in a week with the team, and we was on a wrestling session, and he just gave us. It was the end of the training, and just gave us a last round just to roll. And she was rolling with a girl who was actually a newbie, and I was rolling next to her. And then I heard like, bah, this weird sound of, when the hand is snaps. And I know that's a hand, and I turned and I saw her. I said, oh. Like, the sound that, like, have you heard hand breaking?
I've heard it break, but never heard.
Well, when bone breaks, there's a weird sound. I heard it a couple of times. But I heard it and I said, oh, someone breaks something. And I turned and I saw her. I said, oh, damn. So what happened is, I didn't saw how it happened. She told me that her arm get kind of, like tangled with the girl's legs. So it happened something like kimura or something like that. So what happened? She make a spiral break on the humerus, on this bone.
That's
like
bad.
a spiral.
Yeah. Spiral.
And because my wife is very stubborn, she's from the mountains, so she's very stubborn. She wanted to stand up. I said, don't stand up, stay there, because her hand was limping. And good that I did that, because then the doctor said that because of the spiral break, your bones become like too sharp-edged. But in this part of the arm, from one side is your arteria, from the other side is your nerve. And for any of those it cuts, you lose your hand. Ooh. So if you cut your nerve, you never have your hand. If you cut your vein, again, so yeah, it was crazy, very bad experience, because she's very active. She cannot be contained in one place. And it was very hard mentally for her to stay. I had to stay with her because she was like going crazy and banging the walls. It was very hard for her. Like imagine competitive athlete. She was competing. She was fighting pro at that time. They have to be contained on a bed.
Yeah.
And even like when I was driving her after, because they was making casts, you can hear her bone clacking to each other before they put the nails. And I'm driving the car and I have to drive slow and everyone is beeping, but her bone was quacking, bone to bone. 11 nails. She was like, her x-ray was like like that. And then after this, so to do that, they had to split the triceps to nail the bone together. And then after a while, they had to pull this one out. So it was very, very hard.
That's a serious injury.
It was serious. The thing is, she's very competitive, and then after all this, she had to do rehab to recover, because she couldn't, she couldn't move the fingers of her arm. She had problems with the arm, and she couldn't really extend her arm fully, because when you're in a cast, your ligaments deteriorate.
Yeah.
So you cannot really have range of motion. So it's very painful. Then it takes months to stretch it back, because it's like making a split with your arm. They fuse, your ligaments fuse, and then to stretch them, you have to break them down again. So that was another part. So it was very hard go, very long. But for recovery, she had to lift weights, and she was all the time, I want to fight. I want. Actually, on the first day of the cast, she escaped from the hospital to come on a seminar in the gym. And while she was watching the seminar, her fingers, because of the fluid from the surgery, her fingers become big like that, like and her surgery was about to explode. The doctor was going to kill us because she escaped. She couldn't. And then I said, and I was, are you fine? She said, yeah, I'm fine. I said, see, watch your fingers. And her fingers are like 3 times bigger.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's this superhero with the glove. And I was like, something's wrong. Let's go back to the hospital. And going back, and the doctor said, oh, you dumb fucks. You know what you're doing? Her arm can explode. Because, you know, your lymphatic systems is pumping fluid, you know, to beat the infection from the surgery. And then it was, man, it's like crazy. Yeah, so then you know, she asked me to promise her I would stop fighting, and I had a point in fight and make one more fight. And that was my last fight. Then it was very hard for us to stop fighting because we both was very much into it. Then I started doing grappling comps only, you know, just to stop because it's very hard to stop. And I guess I was able to slow it down so I can concentrate on my coaching. The last is I was just doing grappling because after this I promised her, so I had to keep it. And it was very stressful. Like, but the thing is, you can only imagine how stubborn are these mountain people. So for rehab, she had to do like exercise with weights.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, damn that shit! If I'm lifting weights, I'm gonna compete." And she started doing bikini fitness. She won Europeans, nationals. She won a championship here in Australia. It's crazy.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm lucky because if she was not by my side, I probably won't be able to achieve what I was able to achieve for my time in the sport. Because you need someone to support. If whoever is next to you is like pulling in another direction, it's very hard. It's very demanding sport, especially once you take it on professional level and you fight a really dangerous guy. So you cannot joke with that. It just becomes serious. You really have to be as good as he gets to get there. So yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm still trying to get her on the podcast, but he's always busy. She's very interesting story. So I want to go to tell. Yeah, I will. Like, I think I almost got her convinced for tomorrow, if I'm able to record that. But yeah,
she's the perfect time to do it too. You know.
Yeah. She's getting a bit like now. She doesn't have so much work, so yeah. She's very interesting person. Like, not only because she's the best girl I ever met, that's why I married her. But yeah, she's really awesome. She's quite a story as well. She's very funny. Yeah, so that's in the making. Probably gonna get her on that. Gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, brother. Do you wanna give a direction how people can follow you on social media?
So, my social media is Joseph Luciano MMA. Yeah, just give us a follow. That links to my Facebook and everything. And you know, I'm posting stuff about my fights and some interviews, and I like to talk a bit of shit sometimes. So
that's good for a professional fighter. It's good. Shit talking is one of the basic skills.
yeah, at the moment. So if anyone ever wants to ask me anything, I'm an open book, especially in this period of time when everyone's got a bit of downtime. So yeah, thank you, Seth. I appreciate it.
How about your team? How people can find your team on social media or like jump into train with you guys?
Yeah, my team's Kimikai MMA. We're in the southeast of Melbourne. Coach Ed is our coach. And yeah, we've got grappling, striking, wrestling, good sparring. Yeah, get in touch. And if you want to train, come down.
I will one day. I promise.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
I would appreciate, brother, if you send me links for that to put them. I'm gonna put them in the descriptions.
For sure.
And yeah, I'll try to process to play with the sound of this one and put it on eventually tomorrow, if my wife permits me.
No worries. Thank you, Seth.
Thanks, brother. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Fight Zone podcast. Subscribe in your podcast app to receive the next episodes where I talk with other champions and officials after IMMAF Oceania 2020. Stay strong and stay safe. This episode is brought to you by Tambourine Spring Water. Visit tambourinSprings.com.au or call 0434 952 449 to order your water today. Tambourine Spring Water is a local business situated on Mount Tambourine. Their water is bottled at the source on their 163-meter deep privately owned spring. The spring provides access to a free-flowing underground stream, which is where their premium quality spring water comes from. It then goes through a very strict sediment and UV filtration process to ensure the final product remains both consistent and of brightest quality. It is then bottled and stored until it leaves for the client's home or office. Most water companies in Australia all cart their water from a contractor before being processed and then bottled, which leaves lots of room for contamination and foreign bodies entering the water. In Tambourine Springs, it's a matter of minutes from when the water is extracted from the spring into a bottle, which is then sealed and stored into a cool, dark environment. The spring water is naturally bacteria-free and passes all quality tests prior to filtration. Despite that, Tambourine Springs water have one of the strictest filtration systems, so there is no room for error when it comes to your drinking water. They do not add any chemicals whatsoever to the drinking water. The only thing the filters are doing is removing sand and sediments that comes naturally with the water. The three-stage system is there to ensure no bacteria have found its way into the water. When you purchase your water from Tambourine Spring Water, you know you will receive the best spring water Southeast Queensland has to offer from a local family on a mission to provide the best service and quality. Water companies are often blamed with a good reason for polluting the environment with plastic bottles. This is not the case with Tambourine Spring Water. Your water is delivered to your door in 50 or 20-liter bottles, and your used bottles are collected, disinfected and refilled again, so zero plastic waste goes into the environment. Me and my family are also using Tambourine Springs water way before they decided to sponsor this podcast. By experience, once you drink real spring water for a while, you cannot drink from the sink anymore or any commercial waters from the supermarket because it smells bad and has a bad taste. Ridiculously enough, in Australia you can mix 50% of the water with tap water and label and sell it as spring water. This is not the case with Tambourine Springs water. I personally know the family who owns it, and I have been numerous times in their small factory to see my water being bottled straight from the spring after the filtration process. Majority of my team also purchase their drinking water from Tambourine Springs Water. Find out more at tambourinSprings.com.au or call 0434 952 449 to order your water today.